I love just the energy and passion that you have in the business, and you recognize that you're on this rocket ship right now. This is an exciting time that you'll never, ever forget. You may,
Yeah.
I don't know, what is your vision for how many locations and how big is big for you?
Yeah, so we operate off the EOS system. So we're very, very locked in on our 10-year, 3 year. So our 3 years to get to 400 locations open or developed by, open or awarded by 2025. And then our 10 years to be at 1,500 locations with $1 billion in average revenue, which is an average of 600,000 essentially. So we want to be a global brand. Number one, we want to focus right now on domestic expansion. But at about 250 open, we're going to start to open the doors into international expansion. I'm sure you experienced this too, but we're getting blown up by people wanting to open overseas, specifically in Europe. But it's having patience and doing it at the right time. And I think being disciplined in that.
I absolutely agree with you 100%, Adam. As a franchisor, one of the biggest challenges is telling people no, because when they're knocking on your door, especially overseas, you want to do it. You don't want to tell somebody no. You want to expand and grow, and you got dollar signs lighting up. Your eyes are lighting up with the dollar signs, and you think about what a bigger impact you can make. But it has to be the right timing, because it could go all wrong growing globally when you really haven't taken care of home first. We experienced something very similar to that during the Great Recession, where a lot of franchisors during the Great Recession were running overseas. I remember that where we had trouble selling domestically. We did not change our focus. We were like, it doesn't matter if there's a recession here. We knew, well, obviously there's going to be a recession that's going to expand, globally. But that was like that was the hot button. Back in 2008, 2009, it was, we got to start going global, because people are trying to run to greener pastures, but you got to take care of the infrastructure first. You can't just go saying, I'm going to escape to somewhere else. But I love that you have that vision. It's going to take something really special for you to get to that 1,500 units and go globally. It's going to take constant innovation, right? Not just marketing and having, a raving fan base. What is it going to take from an innovation standpoint to be able to expand and to keep that edge versus the competition, since again, you're in a crowded space? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we have an entire technology philosophy that, number one, we make decisions through the lens of two things. Number one, does it make our franchise partners more money, and does it make their lives easier? So it's got to filter through those two things for us to move forward with any innovation, any technology. Then where we're really like going against the grain is we're seeking innovation, and we're highly innovative in technology on the internal side, meaning business operations, KPI dashboards, visibility to metrics, like all of that on the internal side, non-consumer facing. Because I believe that when we innovate through technology, it has to enhance the one-to-one experience, not replace it, where a lot of brands, and not right nor wrong, it's just a lot of brands are highly focused on replacing the human beings, and that's just not who we are. So we're really cutting our teeth and putting a flag in the ground and saying, like, we're going to stand for the depth of a relationship, because that's where retention comes in. And I truly believe, that's, some of my faith, but like, we're meant to do life together as humans. That's why we were put here. And I think when it comes down to that, it's, if technology is going to replace a human, we are not in that realm. So it's why do we not have heart rate monitors on the screens? Why are we not replacing, coaches with live workouts on the TVs? Why do we not have a virtual training component of our brand? And it's really because of that, is like, we're gonna be one-to-one in a group setting, obviously, but we're gonna have a relationship. We're gonna do life together. We're gonna do community, and that's really where I think if we stay true to that, and it's in our name, then that's where we'll win. And from an innovation standpoint, we've really set up, just from a product standpoint, we've really set ourselves up, I think, to win, to be agile. So none of our equipment plugs in the wall. Our equipment package is $42,000. And then additionally, our floor space is open. So when that thing does come, we can be first to market, whether it's a bungee cord system that hangs from a wall or whatever. Whatever it is, I would say, but it's interesting because I always tell people, like, look, we're not different because of the workouts we do. We're different because of the coaching. People have been doing squats, push-ups, burpees, thrusters for hundreds and hundreds of years. So we're not highly innovative in that, and you don't need to be. It's what works.
Right.
But getting someone the door and the depth of that relationship, and no one knows how much you care until they don't care until they really know how much you care about them, right?
Yes.
And so we have what we call a green star experience internally, and that's everything from the time someone walks in the front door to the time they leave. And that includes, and there's a science behind it. There's 3 points. When someone walks through our door, at the front door, not inside, at the front door with it propped open, they're getting a high five by their name with eye contact. So we're getting physical connection. We're getting eye contact, meaning, hey, I see you, right? Because most people don't feel seen. And then we're saying their name, which is everyone's identity. So these little things for us, they're so controllable, and it comes down to care, and it's what honestly at the end of the day has been separating us and why we continue to see record growth.
I knew you had to be doing something special to have a 95% retention rate. I mean, you've got to be doing something remarkable that's different. And it comes, like you said, it comes down to the people. Using technology to better serve our customers is, I think, that's the right way to use technology, not to replace the person. And being in the fitness industry, there's got to be such a concerted effort on focusing on the training of of your trainers and the staff to making sure that they're a right fit for your culture for every franchise location. So walk me through that a little bit, because at the end of the day, it is the trainers that are making or breaking the customer experience. Just like any business, it's the front line. Those are the folks that are the reason why customers keep coming back. And we know if we're making money through group or one-on-one training, they got to be able to build that rapport. So what do you guys do in terms of training these coaches or trainers that makes it such an important part of the business?
It's a great question. It's so from day one, when they come through what we call Iron U, we said, we have a huge opportunity to be the Chick-fil-A of boutique fitness. And when it comes down to consistency, so hopefully some executive from Spirit Airlines, but maybe it'd be a good thing. But I put up a Spirit airplane, and I put up a Delta or an American Airlines or whatever. And we talk about, or Chick-fil-A versus McDonald's, right? At the end of the day, it's about consistency. And so for us, it's number one, pouring into the coaches across the brand. We probably have more contact with our coaches from a headquarters level. For instance, like I'm still running what we call as a coaches huddle. It's a half hour every 2 weeks, but just pouring into the coaches from that side. And then from there, and all the coaches across the brand log on to that. From there, we talk about how do our coaches feel in our space. So we have like very, very high end apparel for our coaches because we want to elevate them. And then most importantly, the foundational thing is what we call a 30-point checklist. And that is from the point of contact of a session starting to the session ending. It's not scripted, but there are things in that 30-point checklist that they must hit. An example of that is 50 high fives during the session. Another example of that is saying 50 names during the session, right? So it's these brand identity things, but at the end of the day, it's what's creating command of that room for them. And it's funny, I was just on with a candidate, actually, he's looking at opening a location. He's a NFL Super Bowl champion. And I can't say his name yet, or
That's
else I would, but people would know. But I was just telling him, I was like, we have to design everything. And this is our thought process, is how do we make a good coach a great coach? How do we make an okay to good owner a great owner? And that's not only through support and coaching them and teaching them, but the reality is not every owner is going to be a great owner, right? They're going to be disengaged. They may not be the best leader. So how can we create systems, processes, SOPs that are in place to make sure that at bare minimum, our product is consistent no matter where you go in the country? And that's really what we've hung our hat on and dove into the leadership of not only the coaches, but the front of the house leaders in every location. And then most importantly, our owners as well.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.